Welcome to It's the Economy. For the past 2 years, the Indian economy has been boosted by capex spending by the central government. In the FY 23-24 budget, the government has budgeted to spend 3.3% of the GDP, or over 10 trillion rupees, on capex. The road ministry is an important part of this thrust, with a budgeted expenditure of 2.7 trillion rupees, of which capex support to the NHAI is 1.6 trillion. Now, how much has been spent so far and what are the plans for the second quarter? To get a handle on this, we have with us Anurag Jain, Road Transport Secretary, or rather the Secretary to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Mr. Jain, thank you very much for joining us. Well, first up, sir, what is the total kilometers of roads that you are targeting to bid out this year?
It is about 12,500 crore, and my initial reviews show me that we can actually do a lot better, because Honorable Minister desired that can we reach 40 kilometers per day in this year, and I guess we'll come very close to it.
Okay, no, that looks like the amount of roads you are expecting to construct, 12,500. But how much of new roads do you expect to award this year?
We are actually working on a very big vision map, and Honorable Prime Minister gave us Vision 2047. So, yes, keeping that in mind, we are working on a very, very planned and methodical way of taking up new projects, which will actually entail higher logistic efficiencies in the country, so that no part of the country is left out. And once that program gets approved, our pace of award will become much faster. As far as particular this year is concerned, we should be again able to award something close to 13 to 14,000 kilometers, because most of the sanctions which took place last year, they'll get into the award phase this year. And based on this new program, what we'll sanction this year will actually get into award towards the latter half of this year or early next year. That is how the cycle works.
Oh, okay. I'll time permitting, come back to this. Let me take the expenditure. How much does the ministry expect to spend this year in terms of capex by the government on roads?
Our total budget is, as you just mentioned in the beginning, is 2,70,000 crore. And on top of that, actual capex will go up to 325, the way you assess, there's a private contribution, etc. 3,13,000 crore. So we'll definitely complete it. And as the mood is, the buoyancy in the system is, probably at the stage of RE, we may be asking for more. But definitely we'll definitely achieve, as the plans go now. By December, we'll be trying to cross 80% target for sure.
Okay. Now, can you tell us how much was spent already in the first quarter, which is going to end by the end of this week?
In the first quarter, our target was 102,000 crore. Against that, last week when we reviewed, we had already crossed 96,000 crore. So we are going as per the target. And as per the target, we'll be crossing 80% by December itself.
Okay, so staying on target now. Now, the data we have shows that HAM, that is a hybrid annuity, is the preferred mode. Will we see other modes of awarding projects, say, will BOT or EPC become more popular?
It depends, like it's a dynamic way of deciding, but as per the plan, if you take up the NHAI projects, which are relatively the bigger projects, which are more amenable to these kind of works, they are in the new cases, which will take up about 80% of the cases will be under HAM, or some of them, if the environment permits, there will be BOT. In some cases, probably we'll go in for creating an SPV, like a project financing, what was done for the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, and certain other cases will be EPC. But definitely, we are moving more towards attracting the private capital through HAM. And what is more important, it actually lays emphasis on the quality. In HAM, since the operator has to maintain the road for 15 years. So in our assessment, right now, I'm pretty new to the department. In my first interactions and the first few visits to the projects on site, I personally have a feeling that probably that puts a skin of the contractor into the game, and therefore quality is maybe marginally better. Or maybe we need to tweak our EPC model also to make it a defect liability period or the maintenance period also longer, so that the quality also improves for all the projects.
Okay. Okay. All right. So ham is preferred for that reason. What are the major trunk routes that you expect are going to be completed this year? I mean, the marquee routes.
This year, as we visualize, more than about 350 projects will either get inaugurated or will get the foundation stone, about 175 to 180 of each of them. So, say for example, you talked about this, I take a project, Ambala Kotputli, which has been recently completed. So now from Ambala to Kotputli, you can reach within 2 to 3 hours. What it has done, it has really added a huge logistic efficiency. Jammu to Srinagar, instead of 15 hours, a truck can reach between 8 to 9 hours. That is a present situation. By August 25, when the Jammu to Srinagar highway gets completely done, all the other tunnels get completed, the truck would reach in 6 hours. So Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, in the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, Honorable Prime Minister has already inaugurated one part up to Lalso, and two more parts will get inaugurated very soon. And by about December 24, probably you can drive. There will be a very small tunnel which will be remaining. You can drive from Delhi to Mumbai in about 12 hours instead of 24 hours. So a lot of big projects will get completed, and they're just getting into the completion phase now.
Okay. Okay, got that. Now, the NHAI, let me come to that. It is still holding on to a huge debt of over 3.4 lakh crore rupees. How much of this are you expecting to bring down this year?
By 2032, the major part of the debt will be cleared. There has been a conscious decision at the level of Finance Ministry. If you look at it, even though NHAI is rated as AAA plus,
yes,
so cost of funding is reasonably decent. Yet it can't match the cost of funding what the government gets.
Yeah.
So therefore, what has happened is whole of the financing is coming through the budget.
yes,
And whole of the toll revenue is getting into the consolidated fund of India. What was happening? It is you are taking loan against the toll which you will get. So toll goes into the CFI and you get it from the budget. So there's no dearth of fund. Whatever you otherwise would raise, you will still get it. So now we are into that repayment phase. Every year, whatever is due will be paid. And as the projections show, the major part will get over by 2032. And only one more mode we have brought in, like we have brought a lot of financial innovations. The toll revenue is really increasing at a fast pace.
yes,
If you see, if I have to compare the last about 9 or 10 years, in 2013-14, the toll revenue used to be around 4,000 crore. It has already reached about 41,000 crore. And we expect that it will reach about, in next 5 years, it will increase to about 1.25 lakh crore. That is because we are building good roads, we are getting toll. So again, you can redeploy, you can reinvest that fund. So for the purpose of investment, we have come out with innovative instruments like TOT or InvIT. So we are getting some upfront money there also.
yes.
So all that financial planning is in place, and we are working to get our Vision 2047 up and achieved as quickly as possible.
Okay. What is the NHAI's InvIT target this year?
Yes, every year in consultation with Finance Ministry, we have a target to sort of monetize our assets. So this year we are trying with all the three modes, we are trying to get monetize about 45,000 crore. Official target is 35,000 crore. So internally we take a larger target so that we don't falter on the target.
Okay. Now, what is the extent of private sector participation? Is it enthusiastic? We get the impression that government capex is good, but private capex is not yet up there.
I think there's a very positive story going around in the highway sector. especially after COVID, the kind of decisions which were taken, they have really gone and made the industry very, very competitive. The kind of decisions which we did our department, the size of the projects was rationalized, the eligibility criteria was rationalized, then the payment conditions, like typically we would make payment over a project cycle in 5 tranches. That has been made 10 times. So that has improved the liquidity of the contractors. Plus, there were a lot of capacity building workshops and handholding. So as a result, the contractor system started growing up. So in the just matter of last 2.5 to 3 years, since all this started after COVID, so I would say the country really used this as an opportunity. The number of contractors in our ecosystem has increased by 60%.
Oh, okay.
So that has really brought in intense competition.
Okay, that's good to hear. 60% rise in the number of road contractors. Are there any serious land acquisition worries that can delay the projects? This has been the proverbial bugbear.
No, land acquisition still remains a challenge. Forest clearances still remain a challenge. Even though a lot of good work has been done by the Ministry of Environment and Forest, they have brought in Parivesh to expedite processes, etc. They have set timelines. Still, but on the actual field, because the project, it has to go through various hands, still it takes reasonable time. And on the land acquisition, I would say if there is a problem, it really runs into. So this is the most major challenge. Of course, a lot of good work has been done on the utility shifting. So these are the 3 major challenges. And that is why when people talk about the delays in the project. So now what we are targeting is that all that is we are attempting that will actually give the appointed date for a project only after 90% of the land is available in EPC mode or 80% in the HAM mode. So once that happens, so substantial piece of land is available. So even if you have awarded, the appointed date may come later. Thereafter, the pace of execution is much faster.
Okay, got that. So you wait for 80-90% of land acquisition before the actual appointed date. Got that. Now, the big worry in industry is, in India Inc. is that in an election year, the government will sacrifice capex and do revenue expenditure, like Jal Shakti or income transfers. Do you fear this time the road ministry will fall short of spending your entire 2.7 trillion budget?
I personally don't have, because my colleagues in finance ministry, I worked with most of them, and Honorable Prime Minister is so focused on infrastructure that this actual, when I was in my previous department as Secretary DPIT, I had made a presentation to the Council of Ministers, what are the projects which would get completed in 23-24 of across all departments. And there is a monitoring mechanism. Every minister has been tasked with this, monitoring it closely. Every secretary has been tasked with this. A special portal has been created within the DPIT, the Pragati system that was made. So as a result, there is a very focused attention on completion of these projects and the capex. Honorable Prime Minister actually himself reviewed in the first half of June every infrastructure department, and one of the key questions was what has been the pace of expenditure and how do you propose to cross 80% by December. So by and large, every infrastructure ministry is doing very well on that count. As I mentioned about my target, in the first quarter itself, we'll end up spending more than 35%.
Oh, that's very good, 35%. You're at the moment standing at 1 lakh crore. How much has FASTag increased your finances, sir?
It has really improved. The FASTag has been transformational on various counts. Number one, the leakages in the system have gone.
Yes.
Number two, it has made life easy for the people. The stoppage time on the toll has gone down. Yes. The fights have gone down. So as of now, if we look at it, the total collection, 98% of the total collection is on the FASTag. That speaks for itself. 100% of our tolls have been digitized. They are on the FASTag system. Only about 2% of the people, for some reason, where the FASTag is not working, or for some reason they don't have a FASTag put on their vehicle, there's a very minuscule. And what it has brought in as a tangential advantage, there was a study, so it is not a full-fledged data based on a sample study.
Yes.
The average time taken at the toll before the FASTag system really became ubiquitous was about 734 seconds. That's more than 12 minutes.
Okay.
Now it has come down to 47 seconds.
Okay.
That is the average. So let me not give such a rosy picture. There would be certain tolls where it is more than that. So we have gone into the deeper analysis.
Okay.
We are trying to set up a system where if there's a delay more than a certain amount of time, certain time, then we take up those tolls for further modifications, how to improve the geometry, the number of lanes or system, whatever has to be done, so that the life becomes easy for the people who are passing. So it has been really transformational story.
Oh yes, that is transformational. Mr. Jain, we're out of time. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I think the big takeaway from me is that stoppages at toll nakas has fallen from 12 minutes to a little less than a minute. Yes, that's an average, but that's encouraging. We wrap up on Bazaar on that note. Chartbusters up next.